everybody, I want to show you how I created my logo sting using Wick editor. So let me go ahead and play through the animation. So as you can see, it starts with a clicker zooming in from the right. It has a click animation, the logo spins, and then you have a second to read it and the entire thing clicks again, and then it fades out smaller. So let's look at the individual components first. So I will go ahead and hide all of the elements. This is the background. I made sure to size it to be similar in size to the canvas background here. Something we can look at now will be our file setup. For this one, I've named it Logo Sting with my name and the year, with the frame rate of 25 frames per second, a width of 720 and a height of 480, and those are the settings. The width and height will come in handy later. My next element is the full logo, which you can see in the second half of the animation starting here. This has the clicker and the rest of the logo combined in one. Here we are. So this is just the background of the logo independently, and then here we have just the clicker independently. The way I created this was mainly using something called tweening. And so each of these tiny diamonds represents a stage of the animation. So you can see at the beginning, my mouse is over here outside of the frame on the right. That's the first tween. And as we go through, it is tweening to this layer here, or sorry, to this spot here. It's going to land in the center, and then at around 14 frames, it's going to get a little bit smaller. At 17 frames, it goes back to normal size. Actually, I think that's a little bit bigger than normal. Yes, and then it goes to normal at 28. Then it stays that size as we have a new tween on the second layer right here. You can see that we start with the logo facing upright, and at each of the next tweening spots at 25, 30, and 35 seconds, the logo continues to rotate. Then we have a couple of frames. I think I just said seconds, but what I meant was at the frames of 25 and 35. We have around 30-ish frames where everything is still. And then we begin with the full logo and its movement. So right here at 58 frames, we have the logo. Then it gets smaller, a little bit bigger, and back to normal size. Then, oops, what we have it do at the very end is it just gets smaller and fades. Okay. Now that I've shown you how mine looks, we can look at the individual design elements. So you guys designed a logo earlier this year in class, and you put these on your websites. What I did is I broke my finished design down into individual elements. So the clicker, the logo without anything, and then this is separate. This is the favicon, which y'all created those as well. You don't need to make individual elements unless you want different parts of your logo to move separately like I did. Let's look at the Wick editor now together, and I'll make a simplified version to show you what to do. We're going to click try. I'm not going to load an autosave right now. First, we need to start the project. I'm going to change this to 25. I'm going to name this Tutorial Logo Sting 2026, and let me add my name. You can just call yours Logo Sting with your name and the year. These can stay as is. Take note that it is 720 by 480. All right, now we have our canvas. You can zoom in or zoom out, and you can reset here, right here, I mean. So let's say that you had it small, recentered. All right. The first thing we want to do is to import a couple of our assets. So I'm going to go ahead and select Upload Assets, and I'll be using images from my branding folder. So let's start with these three. You can see that I've named each of them, and they're each 500 by 500 pixels wide. They've all been successfully imported. Now I need a couple of layers, so I'm going to start off with a background layer. And you can name the layer right here. Okay. I actually want to import my background as well, which I have here. Now I will add the background by selecting the file and clicking Add to Canvas. My first thing is that I want to resize this to fit. So to resize this, I ended up just using the corners and sizing this similarly to that of the background. And to center it, I'm using the halfway point. So half of 720 is 360, and the halfway point here, so half of 480 is 240. Okay, and it needs to be just a little bit taller. There we go. So that's my background. I'm going to go ahead and lock that for now and create a new layer. This one's going to have the empty logo. All right, here I'm going to add in the empty logo. And I need to drag this layer on top of the other one so I can actually see it. I also want to change the size of this to be, I think, 400 pixels by 400 pixels. Now I'm going to lock this and add another layer and drag this to the top. This is going to be my clicker. Okay, and I need to add the file. This is the clicker which I wanted to add. It is the correct size. Again, what I'm doing here is changing the X and Y origins to center it, and then changing the width and height so that it will look like my original combined logo. Now these pieces can move separately from each other. Let's go ahead and start moving them around using some tweening. So I'll start by moving the clicker. I'm going to have it play for around, we'll start with 30 seconds. The beginning tween is going to be off screen over here, and I'm going to have it be pretty large. And then I want it to fly in to right here. Let's do that at around 15 or maybe 14 frames. I need to extend this so I can see it. So right here, I'm going to select this diamond and move my clicker. I'm going to resize it to the correct center point. And then I'm going to adjust the width again to be back to normal. All right, let's play that. And I'm also going to move the background, sorry, to 30. Okay, look at that. That looks awesome. What to do now? We can add a clicking animation. To do this, I'm going to add another set of tweens. So the first thing I'll want to do is make this one a little smaller. And then we'll go here, maybe at 20, add another tween and make it just a bit bigger. Oops. And then back to normal size here. All right, let's watch it. There we go, nice, we have a click. So what's gonna happen on the click needs to be determined. In my original, I had it spin, but for this one, I'll have everything fly off of the screen, I think. So let's watch it real quick. Great. So here's where my full logo is gonna come into play. I'm going to go ahead and create another layer. It's good practice to name all of your layers and files. So if you haven't been doing that, this is the best practice. I'm going to add the logo right here. We're going to select it and do the same of what we've been doing, center it. All right, and then we need to change the size. All right, then we are going to move this over at the end of the other animation and extend the background. Let's do another set of frames. And let's play through, let's see how it looks. Okay, now I'm going to have this start off as it is, and then by the time that the animation is ending, we'll add another tween right here, and the whole thing should zoom off this way and get smaller. Hold shift down to equally resize. All right, let's watch it. There we go. That looks awesome. So that is a basic tutorial on how to use Wick Editor to create a logo sting, and we are going to save this now. So I will save it as a Wick file. This is so that you can open it up to re-edit later. That's your process or work file. If you're saving these on your computer, put them in the work file folder. I'm also going to export these. I'll export it as a GIF and also as a video. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to export it again as a video.